Morning, guys. KC Gilly. It's another mechanicking video. The gardening's slow right now. I got cabbages getting ready, but I thought I would share. I'm working on a 2006 Kawasaki Mule. It's a 3010 diesel 4x4, and I've run into one issue after another, it seems like. So let me show you what's going on. Okay, so this is where I find myself in this moment. All right. Now, what has happened here? Let me see if I can show you. This is your little brake hub assembly, okay? And there is a seal right here. It's rubber, it's ruined. And for some reason, that dadgum drum, let me see if I can show you what's going on there. Let me see. All right, so this drum right in here, it looks rusty because it's been rained on while it's been sitting out here, but it wasn't rusty. It was actually very shiny because all this is breaking off. The dang thing was sinking in there too dang far and making contact with the bearings. And so I have new parts, okay, to replace this stuff. I put my new wheel bearings in. You know, I took all this stuff loose here. And I'll show you what's going on. Okay, so wheel bearings. All right, so here's my nice new pretty parts. All right, got my new wheel bearings in there. This one was out. I went to put it back in and I couldn't get that thing to sit down where it's supposed to. And what I found out was this shock up at the top where it mounts to the frame of the body there has this. I don't know if this is a factory. I'm gonna guess it is not. I think it's some kind of little lift mount, but it had two sides. You see this side, there's another side on top of it, looked just like it. I'm gonna clean that thing up, and I'm having to fabricate my own here. Gotta do some cleanup and stuff, but when I get done, we're gonna have something to this extent, see? And what's gonna happen is, two bolts are gonna go through to the frame, and I'll show you where they go. And these two bolts will come through the other two holes. If you can see that right there, that's where two bolts are gonna come through, okay? But that bracket right up in here was broke all to pieces on the top side of it. And that dadgum shock was just flopping everywhere. And when I tried to put my little ball joint back in here, I couldn't get it to line up. There wasn't nothing I could do, no way. And so I finally said, you know what, let's take that guy loose, see if we can fix it. And that's what today's mission is. So we're gonna see if we can get this back together. Hey guys, I got my part fabricated. I'll show you what it looks like. Here's my straight up and down of it. See, I just pretty much built a new little top for it, but I've already set those bolts where they fit. Does it look perfect and beautiful? Nope, but guess what? It works. Everything's going to be all right. So I'm going to get this dude back together and I'll show you my finished product. It's back in action. That's where it's supposed to be. Now I'll see if I can get the rest of it on. I'll show you how it bolted in there. You can see right there. That dude bolts in there and hangs on. And now it's one solid piece again. Get back down in here and see if I can get this other stuff together. Okay guys, I'm about to win. But I'm not gonna lie to you, I probably spent an hour, maybe an hour and a half trying to figure out how to get this shock or this strut back up in there and that bottom ball joint back in at the same time. I'm talking about a war, so I'm gonna show you kind of what I did. Okay, so I went ahead and started this. I got a nut on it. Just barely had the nut on it, that's it, okay? This guy was hanging in here loose. This guy was not attached at all. In fact, it was way in the hell over here, just way off, away from it. And I didn't see any way I could get it back over there. And so what I ended up doing is I took those two straps, okay? And one of them, I went to the frame back in here, and I come all the way across this, over to here somewhere and hooked on, and that pulled it that way. And as it pulled that way, it also wanted to go back that way too much. It's getting too far over here. So I got another strap, and I hooked it over here, and I hooked it right here around this guy. And I didn't want to get carried away, but I just kept easing it and pushing, and then I'd crank on this other one and it would push it back in. And it was kind of starting to line up, and then all of a sudden, I don't know exactly what it was. I'm really thinking it's this guy. Just popped loose in there, and the whole thing just set right on over there like it needed to go, and I got it done. But another thing that I didn't know, it's not in the book, okay? And so I thought I'd be nice and share with you guys. This bolt, let's see if I can show you how it runs through, okay? It runs from this side over here all the way through. And it was giving me hell coming through, and I couldn't figure out what it was. Well, these shocks have a little groove carved into them, whether you see it or not. It'll be down here. You'll see this tape right here, it'll be about the same distance down of black you need. And in that groove, you'll see it in there. You have to twist this shock until you see that groove. Because if you look through that hole where this bolt's at, you will see that that shock is sticking out. The roundness of it is sticking out. But there's a spot that they have grooved intentionally. And when you twist it right, finally, you'll see that there is a groove in the shock that allows that bolt to come on through, no problem. So there is an hour and a half of my life of torment that I hope maybe I can help somebody else. And I know all my little bushings and stuff's blowed out. That wasn't me, but I didn't help it any, I'm sure. But I'm not sweating that. My issue was here, this bearing right here. And so now I've got it back on, and I have hooked my brake line back in and my little vacuum hooter, whatever. And I'm gonna bleed it from here in just shortly. But first I'm gonna put a little tiny little bit of grease, just a little bit on my finger, and just slick it up a little bit around this seal here. And then I'm gonna get that drum on. I had to knock the studs out of the old drum. I knocked them out because I'll have to reuse them on my new one. But I'll get that dude hooked back up. Hope I help somebody. Okay, guys, got it on. We're hoping everything's gonna be okay. I do need to bleed the brakes, but I've got a pretty wide open area to run around here, so I'm gonna take it for a little cruise, make sure nothing funky happening. So let's see what happens. Call it good. I got them brakes bled, and I'm back in action. That makes me happy. These are the days of our lives. See you guys next time.